feel very privileged at having this opportunity to put in a word or two with those who are shaping the future of our country. I must say that as an economist who has been working on issues of productivity and growth in the Indian economy, I have more recently come to study the challenges of urban India, and I thought I would take this opportunity to just share a few things out of a report of high-powered expert committee on urban development, which I chaired. The committee was set up by the Government of India. We have given our recommendations to the Ministry of Urban Development, and what is more, I have been sharing the main highlights of the report and its recommendations with a number of chief ministers in the country. And as people who are going to make our higher education relevant and practical, I wish to just put a few things in front of you. Today, we have 30% of our population in India which lives in cities. By 2031, this is supposed to increase to 40%. Today, it's 350 million. By 2031, it's going to be 600 million. Today, a little over 60% of our GDP is being generated in the non-agricultural sector. By 2031, 3/4 of our GDP would be generated by industry and services sectors. Two things are very important if we have to sustain the even 8 to 9% growth rate that we have experienced in the last 10 years. I am not even talking about 10 or 11% growth rates which are being targeted, talked about in the 12th plan. Just looking at what we have had in the last 10 years, if we want to sustain 8 or 9% growth, we need to build cities of the kind which can host this growth. We need to have our urban strategy of development which builds synergy with the rural sector. For a long time in our country, the political economy has really focused on the rural sector, and we often hear about the rural-urban divide. Increasingly, we have to use innovative ways, IT, better governance, bringing in civil society, more private sector, to develop the kind of cities which are linked with the rural sector through logistics development, through infrastructure development, through decentralization, through better accountability at the ground level. And why I say this and why I wanted to use my 5 minutes to bring this to your attention is that one finding of our 2-year study was that India has really very little by way of graduate schools on urban planning, on urban management, and our need is going to be to build more and more city managers, to bring urban planning and bring spatial planning along with socio-economic planning. For the past 50, 60 years, both at the center and at state levels, we have been talking about socio-economic development. And yes, we have come a long way in raising our growth rate, in reducing our poverty, percentage of people in poverty, but the challenges of basic education, challenges of public health, In fact, the challenge of public health is only going to increase as India urbanizes, because we are not ready to deliver the public services of the quality that our better educated people will need. We need to create water and sanitation conditions. We need to build roads. We need to give IT education and use e-governance to deliver public services. For all of this, we really need an orientation and training of both our new generation, but also our existing public officials at all levels of government who could come to universities, to the public policy schools of university, to urban management schools, schools of urban planning, who would really teach them on how, when you expect a structural transformation of an economy, you expect industry and services sectors to develop and grow, what kind of spatial planning, physical planning you need to do. And when I say planning, I don't mean that government does it all, but how to involve civil society, how to get private sector to play a role of partnership. For all of that, universities can really play a major role. So I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share some of these thoughts with you. Thank you.